Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Today we are setting up the A to Z challenge in my 2026 reading journal. Normally I only dedicate one page to this and it's just a list. It's very boring looking, but I've been seeing some really cool and creative ways to do this challenge currently in the reading journal series that I've been hosting over on Instagram. I've been really fortunate to be working alongside some really amazing talent, and this community is just so inspirational even to someone who has been doing this for some time now. So if you haven't checked out the reading journal series over on Instagram and you use Instagram, you can check that out in the description below. I'll have the link to the entire highlight. But because of seeing this happening over on Instagram with a lot of other creatives, I decided that I would make a 2-page spread for the A to Z challenge this year, make it more visual looking. Maybe I will complete it with a bit more energy and enthusiasm, because it's no secret if you've been watching my videos for some time now that the A to Z challenge is one that I won't let go of, but equally always complain about. So I wanted to try something different for 2026 for this challenge. So far, all I have done is use some pencil to mark out where I want everything to go and decide on a piece of decorative paper for the sides there from the Park Lane Dreamland pack that I've been using for this entire setup. I was really happy because I set everything up for this in the spreadsheet that I got from Jashi Curran on how to plan out your pages digitally. So that is really, really handy, and it's such a great device to have in your toolkit if you don't want to sit here and spend a lot of time planning it out on a piece of paper. I have really enjoyed using this spreadsheet to figure out exactly where I want everything to go. It makes setting things up really streamlined. And even though I had some decisions to make in how I set up some of the things on this page, for the majority, I knew exactly where everything was going to go before I even opened up the journal, which has been a game changer. And if you want to have that resource as well, I will link Jashi Curran's shop in the description below as well, because you do have to pay for it, but it is worth it. I think I paid like $5 or $10 for it, and it has almost every single journal size that you could need. It's got an entire setup for you, and it's very straightforward to use. You can use it in Google Sheets or on Excel. So back to what's happening on the page right now. I am just penciling in that header. I have really enjoyed doing the headers this way for the setup so far. It's very basic, and I think I like the fact that it's basic simply because it doesn't make it too complicated when there's so many different elements that I've been setting up in these pages so far that have taken a lot of time. These headers have just been really streamlined. So the font is in the description below. I think it's called Crafter's Signature, and I found it on font.com. So everything else that you see in this video will be in the description as well. I don't share links because, unfortunately, being in New Zealand, I find it really hard to link everything, because where I might get it from, you may not get it in your country, and vice versa. But I do have a list, and I try to use all the brand names and everything so you can at least search it if you're interested. So this is one of the things that I didn't know how I was going to set up. And originally I was just going to do, as you can see what I'm doing right now, marking out on the page. And I was going to go and get my paper cutter and then just have very, very clean lines for this. And then I realized that I didn't have the energy to get up, because what you don't know about me filming this video was it was the very first thing I did after recovering from an incredibly terrible tummy bug. I was in bed for days, and at this point I was supposed to be still in bed, but I just could not cope not being creative anymore and got up. And I'm so glad that I did, because it really boosted my morale, and I was just really, really happy. So I decided I wasn't going to get the paper cutter and just use my ruler, and I liked the edge with the ruler, so I decided that I would just do it all freehand. And as you can see, it's not going to be extremely straight in some of the pieces, because it's just organic, and I really liked that about it. It was pretty simple to do, and the fact that each book cover will be roughly around the same size as the ruler meant that I didn't even have to really do those lines. And the process took a little bit of time, but it was worth it in the end. I didn't show you the whole process of cutting out these little pieces of craft paper, but here's the last one for, I guess, C. But yeah, it was a lot of fun once I got the hang of what I was doing and making sure that it was as straight as I could get it. Some of the pieces, like I said, were a little bit wonky. So now that that is done, we can go through the... Actually, it was quite enjoyable. I was going to say painstaking, but I kind of enjoyed this process once I got used to it. I had to use my stamping blocks and do every single letter. And because I wasn't using a stamp ink, I wanted to continue to use the same pens that I've been using throughout, including the pens that I used for setting up the cover page, which is where I've brought this craft paper back from. Everything is cohesive in this setup, so I decided that I would continue using my Ohuhu Maui marker, and I've also saved you the journey of having to watch me do all of that. It was quite enjoyable though, I must admit. I think I was just listening to music and talking to my friend who I live with, and we were just having a good time. And it was a very straightforward setup, and I will admit that I came into this a bit nervous, not for the actual process of setting this up, but after the last 2-page spread setup, which I have come to appreciate now, but it was a little bit disheartening that I wasn't exactly thrilled with how those 2 pages came together. I felt a little bit of pressure to do this page, and I'm so glad that I just did it when I was sick, because I couldn't really think, if you get what I mean. I couldn't overthink this process at all. I just did what was on the plan. And it turned out even better than what the plan looked like. And I'm just so happy with this. It's my favorite page so far in the setup of this 2026 journal. And I'm really looking forward to using it. So a little bit about the A to Z challenge, if you don't know what it is. It's simply you choose either to use the title of the book. So a book that starts with A, you would obviously put on A. Or you can use an author, and I am going to be doing author this year because in 2025 I've been doing the book title, and I swap between them every year. So for 2026 is author time, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I did have a little bit of space at the end of this page. You'll get to see in a moment once we've stuck on all those stamped on craft pieces of paper. That there is a gap on the right hand side, and I do fill that in with some information for an author side of thing. What am I trying to say here? I had that little gap down there so I could put a little bit of stats, and I'm really looking forward to that part of it, because I've never had space on my A to Z challenge to do anything like that except for list out the books, because I've just sort of jammed it all onto one page. So I'm really glad that I decided to spread this out. Obviously, because I use a lot of trackers in each month, and I want to maintain just one main journal for the year whilst I have my reading data journal. I don't want to have multiple journals for 1 year for reading, aside from the long terms one as well. I have to be very mindful about how many pages I use at the start of my journal, how many trackers, challenges, that type of thing that I put in this journal, because whatever I put here, I won't be able to make up for at the end of the journal. So I am being very mindful about how many pages I have to sort of spend. Originally, I was going to put a books read list and just have a very bare bones list of every single book I read with the star rating and the date that I finished it on. A lot of people do that, and I really like it. But I realized that with the amount of books that I have planned to read over 2026, so my goal is 125. I am currently sitting on 134 here in 2025. So, and my goal was 150 this year. So I do plan to slow things down a little bit next year, but equally have enough room if I do read a lot. It would take up at least 4 pages. So that didn't work out when I planned out how many pages I would normally use in a month. So I had to scrap that idea. So it is something that I have to think about when I do these challenge pages at the start of my journal. And I do have to sacrifice some of my ideas or some of the trackers and challenges that I want to do. I am wanting to do more for my reading bingo, which is the next page in this journal. But I don't know if I'll have the room. I'll have to think on that. It's just, being a bit mindful in the start of this journal, pays off for me, but equally I'm so inspired by all the challenges that I've been sharing and the stats tracking and all that stuff that people do that is slightly different than mine, and I've gone, oh, I really want to try that, but I really have to curb my enthusiasm because it's just not going to work out if I try to fit everything into this journal. I'll get to like November and have no pages left. So, and that would be frustrating because there's only 2 months left, and where would I put them in? You know, like it would be silly to start a new journal. So, yeah, long-winded spiel there, but it's kind of hard when you want to have all these cute pages that you see other people do, and then you don't have the room for it. I could sacrifice some pages in my monthly setups, but I'm so used to the way that I do my monthly setups that I don't know if I could pare things down. Something to think about while we get closer to setting up January. And speaking of setting up journals, I'm very much so aware of how little time I have, because when you think about it, there's such a little amount of time. I think it's like 40 days, or I think it was like 42 days or something we were talking about in the house the other day, until 2026, or was it 48? I can't remember. We were talking about it because I was really worried about the dates. And I started to panic because I've got the rest of this set up to do, and then I've got January to set up in this journal. I've also got the reading data journal to wrap up for 2025 and then set up pages in there as well, and also set up a bullet journal for 2026 as well, just a personal one. And I'm like, where am I going to get all this time? Like, I really need to hustle through this journal. So if there's a lot more of these videos coming out on the channels consecutively, that is because I am very much so aware that I need to get through these pages and get ready for 2026, because it is a blink away, honestly, the way that this year has gone by in the blur that it has. We need to get hustling, us journalers. So now that the page is complete, I just thought I'd fill this space with this really pretty butterfly sticker that my best friend gave me. And as you can see, I've got that little white space down the bottom. That is where I'm going to put that little stat information that I wanted to track. So because I'm looking at authors for this challenge, I put 3 different spaces. I put the date that I finished the entire challenge. I put a space to write down new authors to me, because obviously the challenge is to find every single letter here, and I don't think I follow that many authors with all those letters. So it'll be interesting to see what new authors I find in 2026 to complete this challenge. And then I've also got a space for hardest letter to find. I am always aware of X, Z, and U. They seem to be the hardest ones to find in either way of doing this, whether it's a title or author. So it'll be interesting to see which is the hardest letter to find in 2026. And that is this page done. So thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. And until we next meet, I hope that you have fun reading or journaling, and I will see you in a new video very, very soon. Bye everyone.